one and only. God broke the mould when he made Joe Dunne, and I'll tell you, Joe Dunne pulled out all the musical stops when he recorded and sang and played on his new album, Time for the Bay.
Good afternoon, Peter. How are you doing? And how are you, my old friend?
Excuse me, friend. Drop the old now.
Oh, okay, that's been ditched immediately. My young friend, my Tiernan Oak man, how are you doing,
Very
Peter?
good. You're in good form.
I am indeed, yeah. We've been sort of geared myself up for just to take this little call this morning, so
Not
hopefully
at all.
it'll go well.
Great stuff. Of course it will go well. And I have changed plans already, you see. Already this morning I've changed the first track that I'm going to play from your great, great album, Time for the Bay. And now another change, and that is I want you to introduce the two songs that I will be playing. And the first one I will be playing is Little Girl. Lovely piece of gentle writing, dare I say it.
Ah, thanks, Peter. Yeah, well, the song "Little Girl," it sort of harpers back to the time of everybody's sort of childhood, I suppose. I remember my own childhood. I used to go to Belmullet, which is in Mayo, and run out of the Jeep. We had a little Jeep at the time. Run up to the top of the sandy dunes and jump into the sand. That was the first thing I did. So that song is about a little girl, you know, that she's sort of just been rocked by the world and the gentleness of her mother and the gentleness of love and everything that encompasses a little girl and keeps a little girl safe. And, you know, that's the kind of vibe of it. That's, you know, she's going to the place where nothing's going to hurt her or anything like that. That's the kind of general gist of it, you know.
The golden book of magic has opened, so it seems, to break a smile upon the face of every child that dreams. Fine writing.
Oh, thanks, Peter. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I can remember writing that song. I was doing the hoovering, and I stopped doing the hoovering, and I had the guitar, and the song was starting to come. This is many years ago, and I had an actual golden book, a diary with golden book, and actually my wife should get some credit for that, and she said, that's a nice line, the golden book of magic, that'd be nice to put it in. And that's how that kind of line sort of just drifted into the song as well, just in the middle of hoovering.
Look, I'm speechless. You know, the picture of you hoovering itself, would you know how to plug it in?
Oh, I do, Peter. As a young man, I was able to plug in a hoover. I'd go upstairs, and then, you know, if you kind of put your hand on the top of the nozzle and take it on and off, it sounds like you're hoovering. So that's the way my mother thought I was hoovering upstairs. But sure, I wasn't hoovering at all.
Oh, you are smart. Will you stay on the line for a moment, and we will play Little Girl, and then we'll have another quick chat. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Peter.
Great stuff. Joe Dunne is my special guest. Little Girl.
You wonder if the world is spinning, surely it is. And are the waves a lapping, or is it just a dream? And all of the flowers have turned to pink and green. And Mama, she is rocking the cradle of your dreams. Don't wake up, little girl, don't wake up. Don't wake up. The golden book of magic has opened, so it seems, to break a smile upon the face of every child that dreams. So run up to the sandy hill, the rush is there to meet, and jump into the sand below your holiday retreat. Don't wake up, little girl, don't wake up. Don't wake up. Don't wake up, little girl, don't wake up. Don't wake up. Don't wake up, little girl. Don't wake up, little girl. that holds beauty from the deep. Ye can command the stars above to worship at her feet. Below, 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 what whispers in her sleep? The rocking world, the rocking world, the rocking world asleep. The rocking world, the rocking world.
Thank you, Joe. That was gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Well done.
Oh, thanks a lot, Peter. Yeah, and thanks for picking it out as well. Yeah, and even the line that you picked out about the Golden Book of Magic, it obviously struck a chord yourself. So well done and well spotted. Thank you.
Oh, I'm very artistic when I want to be, Joe. You understand?
I know that. I know that indeed. Fair play to you. And thanks for the support on this, just giving this bit of airplay, Peter.
Not at all.
I think it deserves it, you know.
Not at all. It certainly does. And as the fella says, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it did. And seriously, I'm talking like that. And I like the reference that you signed the album, All My Life's a Circle, of course, with reference to Harry Chapin. One of your heroes, Harry, and I see in your bio, Loudon Wainwrights and the Al Stewarts. No wonder you listen to my programme.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know myself and yourself have a kind of a common interest with Harry Chapin, who people I'm sure might know wrote Cats in the Cradle amongst many other hits. And I think me and you were both at a concert that Harry gave. It must have been, I'm not giving away my age here, but I mean, it was 85 maybe, or...
I saw him on his own, and then the following year I saw him with his brother Tom.
Tom, yeah. And then I think we met Tom, myself and yourself, Tom Chapin, a beautiful man.
In the Unitarian Church we saw him.
Yeah, indeed.
That's
brilliant
right.
gig, fantastic gig, you know.
So you were always listening to music, were you?
I was indeed, Peter. I mean, the first single I think I ever became aware of, and I'm actually teaching this to a few young people that I kind of pass on the little gift I was given, is Can't Keep It In by Cat Stevens. And I think
great.
I was like 7 years of age, and then I was sort of from 7 years of age, I was listening to that, and I think the Seven Drunken Nights by the Dubliners, and that was my start of my musical journey, really, to be honest with you.
And what's the story about your first album, another one that I featured on my programme, Hail Caesar? Did Cat Stevens actually hear some of that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a strange coincidence, all right, with Cat Stevens and myself. Actually, I years back, I actually won John Creedon's longest mystery voice competition.
Right.
I went to over €1,000 because I knew who it was. It was Cat Stevens just saying a line, and the line was, "More concerned with what I painted with words."
Right.
So I won the prize, and then John Creedon started.
Just can I pause you there now, Joe?
Yeah.
You won €1,000.
Over £1,000 a time, yeah, over 1,000.
And what did you do? Did you buy a new Hoover?
I bought a new Hoover, and I bought 2 months of a servant that would come in and do the hoovering for me.
I interrupted you. Continue with your Cat Stevens. Well done.
Yeah, so that was, and then John Creedon from RTE started playing Never Never Die, the first track off the album. And then a few years ago, Cat Stevens was over in Dublin, and after the concert he had in the O2, he was going on the Late Late Show, and a fellow I know who worked in RTE, I didn't know what he did, and a fellow I know, a musician, and I rang him, and he actually met me, and he said, "Well, look, leave that with me." And he rang me at about 7:30 that evening on phone call, and he said, "I've just given your album and told Cat Stevens' manager about you, and I could hear Cat Stevens doing a sound check on Morning Is Broken." This is at 7:30. He was doing a sound check from the Late Late Show. So that's kind of like how that happened. And that chap said to me, "Some people promise, but I deliver."
That's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. Before we go any further, I didn't know how well you knew him until I met you, unfortunately, at his funeral. You knew Tom Moore well.
I did indeed, Peter. And I mean, as people might know out there, Tom Moore from Midnight Well and Pumpkinhead and wrote a lot of Mary Black's hits and Maura O'Connell hits. And look, I sang every Thursday night for 10 years with Tom Moore and a few other friends of mine, musicians. We did an amazing gig in the Radisson Hotel, St. Helens, in this 18th century ballroom. And Tom was always in my corner.
Great.
And very fatherly to me, I must say.
That's great.
You know,
that
really close friend of mine, very close friend of mine, and he encouraged me as well, and he loved my songs. You know,
Lovely.
He did.
For obvious reasons. Time for the Bay. It is a fine album, and again, you didn't sit back and just complain and moan for the last 2 years. A lot of people did, with good reason, but you actually set about doing a fine album.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I just look at. You know, I mean, when I started that album, I think, you know, if you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. But if you do something, something's going to happen. And I just got on the train, the music train on that, and just said, right, I'm going to start from scratch and just keep going. And look I don't have a big production company behind me or a big PR operation, but I just kept going, and I'm going to try and push this album just gently out there as best as I can to the best of my ability, you know.
You gathered a load of fine musicians.
Yeah.
They're evident on every single track, and a gorgeous atmosphere throughout the track, a consistent atmosphere throughout the tracks as well. So well done on that. But did you enjoy the whole process of the album?
I loved every second of it. I mean, it was recorded in quite a lot of various locations. And actually, there's a review of the album in the next edition of the Irish Music Magazine. I think they're going to do an interview with me for the January issue 2022. But Gavin Walsh, who's the engineer and a friend of mine and multi-instrumentalist, he gets a good heads up. So I always like to mention Gavin because he was a very important part of it, Gavin Walsh.
Right.
So yeah, look, at a fantastic journey. Every minute of it was just a blessing. It was just the people I work with. A lot of them were on Hail Caesar, the previous album. We've all sorts of people. Jerry Feely he was a former Hot House Flowers drummer. Another great guy. I was playing him a few of the tracks in the car one day, and he said, rewind that. He's from Cork, Jerry. Rewind that. And so I knew once he heard the early editions of the songs, he said, I'm on board for this. I want to get involved in this. So people all helped me out, Peter. 20 people, I think, if not more, on the album.
Well, I'll tell you, it shows on all 16 tracks. And again, you didn't skimp on that. And there was no stocking filler here. There are 16 fine tracks on this Time for the Bay album. Tell me where people can find the album.
Yeah, they can get it on www.josephDunne.com. So that's Joseph, Joseph, Dunne.com. And it's funny because somebody said to me a few days ago, the first track, 1 or 2 tracks were stocking fillers, and the rest is pretty good. And now I think it's amazing that you should come up with stocking fillers. So there's no stocking fillers. Thank you, Peter.
Well, would you believe I don't like I don't particularly like the phrase, and I'll tell you why, and you'll laugh at this. My own Christmas album, my own Christmas book. Some people have said to me, and wouldn't that be a gorgeous stocking filler, that book? I said, excuse me, this is a children's classic, so I'm proud of it, and you're proud of the album.
Brilliant. And, well, I'm glad because when that chap, and I know he was a friend of mine, I said, here, that's after doing a number on my head. So now you've rebalanced it, so thank you, Peter.
If a stocking needs to be filled, there's something wrong with the stocking.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I can say. What other track do you want to pick? Because this is your choice now.
Indeed, Peter, yeah. I am the sort of song that kind of rolls up, came up in my spirit there this morning when you asked me that question to have to think of a song, is The Fall. And it's, I think it's
track
number 4
it's
there, Peter. So The Fall is, we've all fallen, and I think the fall is people, I could not live without you, there's a higher power, it's whatever your higher power is, if it's God, if it's your family, or if it's some spiritual thing that lifts you up when the times you fall down and you feel like you're not going to be able to get up off the ground. And this is a song about, maybe you will be able to get up off the ground. It's called The Fall, where you might hurt your knee, but the higher power and the universe will just bring you back up again if you just hold on in there, and it'll get you there,
Before I play it, you always struck me as quite a positive person. I met you, I think, with Mary Dunne back in the day, and then Dunne and so on, and is it the blue light up in the Dublin mountains?
Yeah, I was up there for over 20 years on a Wednesday. Yeah, I remember you singing the Heaven song and everything.
Oh,
Great.
wasn't it a classic?
Yeah.
Listen, Joe, absolute pleasure to say thank you for the album #1 and for including me on your mailing list. And it is a great album, and I'll prove it because Children's Day next week here in the station, but we're back in a fortnight's time, and I will be playing another track then. I don't know, what did you say? It's done with an E, isn't that correct?
Yes, it's Joseph, www.josephDunne, .com. The album's available there on CD and download CD because it's a beautiful CD. I'd highly recommend people to buy the album because I think, as you can probably know yourself, Peter, from the artwork, it's to hold that album in your hand is a artistic moment as well as listen to the album. That's
it's
what I
the
think,
entire open gate presentation and the significance of the compass as well with track 14 and the bay and hence the title. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I say to you, Joe Dunne, well done and thank you very much and continued. And by the way, any platforms to perform this album in the next couple of weeks or months? Are there places opening to you?
No. I have to put together a little band. I've done other stuff. I did an online stuff, so that's going to be in the process. Slow but steady, Peter. Just to regroup my thoughts after I launched the album on the social media there up in a big place called Sandyford Studios. I had a full band there. That was virtual. So thanks for the push. Yeah, I'll be hoping to reach out and play in the appropriate places in the next couple of weeks.
Well, the very first gig that you have in the new year, we'll have another little quick chat on the phone to or inside here, intimately in the studio when things get better. Okay, Joe.
Thank you for all your positivity and your encouragement and for supporting me, and I mean that sincerely, Peter. Bless the rest of your day, and thanks, listeners, for listening in. Thank you, Peter.
I agree with you, Joe. I'm an absolute blessing.
You are.
I agree with you, Joe. I'm an absolute blessing.
You are. Oh, by the way, I'll be running the planet for 2 years. You can take over in 2025. Is that okay?
I'll do my hair.
Okay, darling.
Before the fall.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Bye.
Joe Dunne is fantastic.
You painted rhymes, songs so sublime that I could not hear the meaning through the storm. You took my hand, you laid the plan from the moment that I came into this land. And the truth denied will never hide how you held me and caressed me with the pen. And I could not live without you. And I could not live at all. And I could not live without you. 'Cause you break my every fall. The story goes, blindfold I'm told, of the love between the maker and the me. And although those hounds snap at your feet, they will never stop you from the face you see. And And I could not live without you. And I could not live at all. And I could not live without you. 'Cause you break my every fall.
Lovely reaction on the phone and on the text from people who know and who do not know and who want to get to know Joe Dunne's music. Mary Harney down in Dunhill, her of that wonderful pub down in Dunhill where you can eat and drink and sing till your heart's content. And Mary will drive you home as well, she will. Even if you lived in Mayo, Mary would sit you into her high-ace van and bring you home. Mary, I exaggerate a little bit. But look at, we will talk to you soon down in Dunhill in County Waterford, and hello to Gary and all the gang down there as well. And Carmel Lynch and all the people who know Joe from the various hostelries and gigging areas around Dublin and beyond, wishing him the best on Time for the Bay from Joe Dunne, Dunne.